going to be looking deep dive into Tua Tagovailoa's 2021 stats. For a second there, I forgot what year it was. Let's jump into this. What is up, Finn fans? Yes, if you watched TD's live stream last night or yesterday, he was talking about some of Tua's stats, and I jumped in there and I had the full, 441 page, of every quarterback stats from 2021. So I'm going to dive into some of the stuff he didn't talk about. I'm going to dive into the stuff that he did talk about, give my thoughts and opinions on it. But if you want to check out us comparing Tua to other Joe Burrow and stuff like that, I did it on his stream yesterday and was expecting something different. But again, I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on it. I gave a little bit on TD's channel. I didn't go too much into it. I was going to make this video yesterday, but then I got caught up in his live stream and said, you know what? I haven't collabed with that man in a very long time. So I jumped on his channel. So we're going to look at some of his 2021 stats from PFF. They go real in depth. There is, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pages of stats that we're going to go through. So there's a lot to talk about with Tua Tagovailoa. Some good, some bad. We're going to talk about it because this is the year. This is the year that he needs to get his stuff together and work on it. But before we jump into that, I have to talk about today's sponsor. If you don't know about Manscape.com, they are fantastic products that include Lawnmower 4.0 and other great products for the man hygiene. Women can use it as well. But they sent me the Perfect Package 4.0. Which comes with, again, the Lawnmower 4.0. It's their newer version of it, hence 4.0. Waterproof, has a light on it. Great for your skin, doesn't nick you. Use it on my face all the time. I shape myself up, which I need to do recently, but you could use it anywhere on your body that hair is. They sent that to me. They also sent me the Crop Preserver, and they sent me the Crop Reviver in this Perfect Package 4.0. If you use the promo code DDW20, you're going to get yourself 20% off. You're going to get yourself some free shipping, and you're also going to get yourself 2 gifts with this. So go over to manscape.com, use the promo code DDW20, and get yourself the Perfect Package 4.0. And thank you so much for sponsoring this video. I'm going to minimize myself. Normally I have... I don't know how small I should minimize myself. If you want to know what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, get on the Patreon. I'm going to start doing more technical things, more technical specific videos on the Patreon, editing, and like what I just did now. So first page you could see here, it talks about regular season grades. So overall grade in 2020, his PFF grade overall was 65.4. This year was 68.3. Went up. He did a little bit better by what? About 3 points. I'm just going to round it. 21 game grades. Good chunk were in the bottom, right? Week 2. Week 2, I'm not going to count week 2. He played how many series and then got destroyed. Did very well week 6 and 7. Not great week 8. I think that was Buffalo. Yes. Week 9 here. 11, 12, 13 was his best week here. I think that was the Carolina Panthers. And then this is week 17. So he did worse week 15 than he did week 17. And then he ended it off kind of the average there. So he had more bad games than he did good games in PFF's world. Again, people decipher and break down game and do things differently in every different website. PFF, this is what we're going off of. So then we're looking here at offensive routes, all players. I don't know, just my brain didn't want to work there. Offense, Miami 2021, routes, all players, passer, Tua Tagovailoa, and then the frequency in each area is compared to the league average frequency in this area. So you could tell here where Tua likes to throw it, right? This frequency area is compared to league average, blah, blah, blah. So Tua likes to throw in this area, right? He does not really like to throw across the middle too much or on the outsides here, which I find very, very interesting. It's a very on the numbers type of passer. Kind of likes to throw here, and it's from like the 15. Kind of on this one, it's like the 20-yard line here, but that hot zone right here. It's that thing, that dunker to his left. PFF grade heat map. So blue is below average, red is above average. Grade rank out of 36 quarterbacks, bigger circle, more attempts. So more attempts here. And then below average is here and here. Above average here. So, you know, this is where he hit like Devontae Parker. This is where he hit Waddle a few times. It was that crossing route, that, you know, corner route. That's where he hit here. And you can see a lot of it's underneath. And I will get to this. I will talk about this stuff. And then throws by routes. 99%. 8% of his routes were these out routes. These quick outs, 8-9%. Where's the most of his routes or comebacks? Seems like the comeback route is 14% of his routes that he liked to throw were comebacks. And then corner routes were, well, shallow corners. This looks like deep corner was 13% here. 12 on and out. Go route, he threw about 9% of go routes. But his favorite were the comebacks. Most targeted routes, the hitch, with a 68.1 rating, 14% were the hitches. The slants, he liked to throw. Again, that's the RPOs, bread and butter. Great passer rating on that. And the outs, like I was saying, here were his favorites. PFF key matrix, big time throws. So let's see. Gray band is 25th to 75th percentile. Green line NFL average. So this was the NFL average. Big time throws, he was 28. So he was below the average here. Turnover worthy throws, kind of high here. Third down grade low. Negative grade high. Grade under pressure, not great. Clean pocket, grade for clean pocket, that's really good. Positive grade rate, that's really good. On target throws is about average there. So here's the stats that you got to look at, right? So passer rating when clean, he has 103, a little bit below average, but when he's clean, he has 103 passer rating here. Big jump from last year in 2020, where he had a 99.3. Could have been he was in the RPO system that he was used to. Possibility here, but yeah, big difference here. And then under pressure, 55.3, well below the average. But again, went up. So I talked about this with Tua Tagovailoa. He got better from 2020, right? He got better in certain aspects of his game from 2020. When you look at especially the passer rating when he's clean and under pressure, he did get better. I don't know why I was looking here when they literally are right next to each other. What do you want from me? Percent of pressure dropbacks taking a sack. He took way more sacks, pause on that, last year, 21.1%, above the average. 13.8%. A big drop in the amount of sacks he took this year. And again, that has a lot to do with his pocket presence. Pressure responsible for by each position. Are you Are you surprised by this? He was not responsible for his sacks. 11 of his sacks. Pressure is responsible. Pressure. So this isn't sacks, this is just pressure. 11 of them were on him, either holding the ball, staring down his receiver, or whatever. Most of it was on Jesse Davis. The other was on either Austin Jackson or Liam Eichenberg. The other was on, the least was on Robert Hunt. So I like who we have at right guard. I don't think the Dolphins need to change right guard. I think right tackle, center, and everyone but the right guard needs to be changed on the Dolphins. But you see huge drastic change here. 42 pressure by the right tackle. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Passer rating when blitzed Tua went down. He did really good last year when he was blitzed, 101.6. This year, 92.5. Big drop there, about 9 points drop there. Pressure rating when not blitzed, up. Obviously, you want that up. Passer rating on third downs, huge jump there as well, from 64.4 to 81.5. And passer rating in the red zone, he had a huge jump at passer rating in the red zone, from 75.5 to 102.6. Dolphins were actually pretty effective in the red zone, especially with Tua at quarterback. These are the season stats. I'll look at these real quick. Let's see if there's a big difference. Obviously, he played more games, if I'm correct. Had more attempts too. So deep pass percentage went down. On target percentage went up. But the deep passes are the same. So he the same amount of deep passes, deep completions. He had more deep completions this year. Passing yards more, but again he threw more, about 100, about 90 something at times. He threw more. Passer rating better, play action percentage more, press percentage more, less sacks than he did last year. Big time throws down by 0.2%. Turnover-worthy passes. I don't know why I couldn't get that word out. Up. I don't know if it's because he's forcing it or that. Drops went down by 1. Interceptions went up, and his touchdowns went up. So, and then his targets. Waddle was his biggest target. Obviously, Waddle and Gesicki. Those were his 2 biggest targets. Let me see his big-time throws. Big-time throw, most was to Parker. 50-50 ball. Turnover-worthy play, same to Parker. No, actually, sorry. That's to Albert Wilson. Was his big. Top targets in key positions on third down. He loved to throw to Jalen Waddle. Under pressure, he liked to get that ball to Gesicki. He could just toss it up to him, and then everything else versus the blitz and the red zone. His favorite target was Jalen Waddle. I don't think we're really surprised by that. Time to throw. So 2.5 seconds or less. So this is how much time he had to throw. Meaning, this isn't about him getting the ball out necessarily. It's how much time he had to throw the ball. Last year, attempts with 2.5 or less seconds went down. So he had a little bit more time. His on target went up. His passer rating went up by 5 points, give or take. Big time throws went down though, and turnover worthy plays went down though. When he has more time, he had more time this year by 3%. On target better, yards per attempt better, passer rating went down a little. Big time throws better, turnover worthy plays though worse. But you could see here, right, 2 seconds or less, the time he has to throw. 41% of his passes, he had 2 seconds or less to throw. So drop back. Just think of that. Drop back. 1, 2. He has to get the ball out. Has to get the ball. I'll even Mississippi it, right? Snap the ball. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. He's got to get the ball out. Please tell me any wide receiver, any type of player that can get 20 yards down the field in 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. 41% of Tua Tagovailoa's dropbacks, he had 2 seconds or less to throw it. But he had an on-target percentage of 85.7. That's probably because he was throwing quick outs. He was throwing the checkdowns. He was just getting that ball out. Then, when he had 3+ seconds, or even 2.5 to 3 seconds, that's about, 35% of his drop attempts were about 3 seconds or more, 2.5 to 3 seconds or more. It's horrible. How do you expect anyone to thrive in that position? That's horrible there. His on target went down a little bit, when he had a little bit more time. And again, I'll talk about that. His sack percentage, though, I think it's hilarious. His sack percentage goes up the more time you gave him. He was so used to getting hit in 2 seconds or less that he knew to get the ball out quicker. He knew to get that ball out quicker, which I think is hilarious. More touchdowns, less interceptions. It seems like the more time you gave him the ball, the more time his brain would just overcompensate and overthink for things. Passer rating, depth of target. So this is the passer rating he would get at certain depths, right? So 20 plus yards pass, he had 77.2% passer rating. He threw that about 8% of the time. 10 to 19 yards, that was his worst. 68.6 passer rating, 26% of the time. That 0 to 9 yarder, he had 103 passer rating. He threw that about 51 half of the time. Behind the line of scrimmage, 15%. He had a 90 on that one. You can see the attempts here. Mostly threw it from the 0 to 9. Then next would be the 10 to 19. And then it would be behind the line of scrimmage. And then 29 attempts, 20 plus yards. So the target percentage, 12%. He was hitting about 8. On target passes, league average 42%. He was at 55%. That's above the league average. Touchdowns are lower. Interceptions higher. Passer rating below. Big time throws below. And turnover worthy plays are above. So he struggled. He struggled on those deep passes. Was it because he had 2.5 seconds to throw? As you can see right here. Possibility. That's a possibility. This is behind the line of scrimmage. You can't see it because my big fat head's on the way. I'll move myself over. I'll go to the other side. Behind the line of scrimmage here, on target passes, he is above average on the 0 to 9, below average on 10 to 19, above average on 20 plus, and about average for behind the line of scrimmage. Now here you have the accuracy target, right? So green is good, elite is blue, very good is the dark green, right? So if you look at it, he's accurate, right? He's an accurate passer. He's elite in front, from what I'm seeing from this. His low passes are down here. Poor behind. He threw that about 3.4%. Most of it was accurate, 60.2%. 2.1% in the front. 3.1 down below. Underthrows 2.9. But he's accurate. He's an accurate passer. Accurate key matrix here. Gray band is the 75 percentile green line NFL average. He's an accurate passer. He's an average accurate passer. Accurate passer rating, high. Catchable inaccurate passer rating, low. Uncatchable rate, low. So he is an accurate passer. That's why everyone keeps saying that Tua Tagovailoa is one of the most accurate passers. And you can see that. Is that Cooper Kupp? I think this is Cooper Kupp. But this shows it right here. He's about average on accurate passer rating. Accurate plus pass rate. Accurate pass rate above. And then on the uncatchables and the inaccurate passes, he's below average. So he is accurate. And this is the last chart that they have. And it's the look distribution. And then it's the percentage of throw by separation. You could see that the tight window throws kind of below average here by 3%. So the green dot is the NFL average. The gray dot is Tua Tagovailoa. So the tight window throws, he is above average on tight window throws. He has thrown more tight window throws than the league average by 3%. But again, people last year, his biggest thing was NFL Open versus Alabama Open. He's very good at throwing these tight window throws. Open, it's below, right? You have 54% is the NFL average. It's 2% lower than the NFL average of players open, and one step closer. It's really close. It's 26 is the NFL average. 25 is what Tua had to deal with. So it's pretty close. Not as open, and Tua threw more tight window throws. And then you see here, again, this is what we kind of talked about on TD's live stream last night. But if you didn't check it out, I'm going to talk about it right now. You could see here look distribution, right? First reads. Every quarterback, and this is what we noticed with, and this is why I popped on to look at other stats. Every quarterback we looked at, their first reads are huge. It's by 50% or more than their next read. That's how the NFL works. Your first read's open, you throw it. It's just how the NFL works. That's how quarterbacking works. Oh, he's open. I'm going to get him the ball. That's just how it works. 75% next read, 11% checkdowns, 4 scramble. He barely scrambled, probably because he was afraid to get injured, and scheme 9%. So with his first reads, he's very accurate. His accuracy is above average. His uncatchable balls are below average, which is good. He didn't make many big-time throws. That's below average. He was a little high on his turnover-worthy plays, right? Here is where the problem comes in, and this is what we did talk about. On his next read, so if his first read isn't there and then he goes to his next read, his accuracy drops. And it is way below the league average. League average is 51.9%. Tua is sitting there at a 36.1%. Way below league average. His uncatchable balls are way higher than the league average at 36.1%. His big-time throws, more. He made more big-time throws on that next read. You gave him time to get to the next read. He will attempt the big-time throws. And his turnover-worthy plays are below the league average. So his accuracy and his uncatchables are way below or above the league average, but he is and I think that's why you're seeing his uncatchables and his accuracy going down, because he's attempting more big time throws once he gets to his second read. Because his turnover worthy plays aren't as bad if he gets to his second read. Because you look, it's 1.4% lower from his first read. So it seems like you allow him to get to his second read, he's going to attempt the big time throws that everyone wants from him. But it affects his accuracy and it affects his uncatchable balls. And then his checkdowns, about league average. He's a little bit lower. He's better at uncatchables, a little bit lower than the normal accuracy. And he doesn't do big time throws or turnover worthy plays because they're checkdowns. But yeah. So let me make myself bigger. Again, if you want to know how to do this, you can join the Patreon. I'll teach you. So yeah, that's what I got for you. That's the in-depth look at Tua Tagovailoa's chart. He needs to work on his next reads. We all know that, right? But here's the thing. It's not just, hey, Tua, you suck at getting to your next read. Sometimes he can't get to his next read. Sometimes when he gets to his next read, he has to hurry up and get that ball out. These aren't excuses. I showed you the chart that it came to pressure given up and the amount of time he has to throw, and 41% of his passes are under 3 seconds. I'm not making this stuff up. These aren't excuses. These are legit facts that 42 of his most of his pressures are coming from his offensive line. Barely any are coming from him. He has no time to throw the ball. So you have to take that into consideration when it comes to his next read, when it comes to his accuracy and uncatchable balls on his next read. The offensive line has to be taken into account. Is it all on the offensive line? No, I'm not saying that. But you can't just look at these numbers and say, oh, he sucks. Move on. No. Because and I even talked about this with TD. He asked me, why do you think he got worse? Because his numbers did drop a little bit from last year. And TD also asked me, why do I think that on his next read these are things? And I said to TD, there's different, things, different variables. And I think one could be his injuries, which is a problem. It's not an excuse. It's actually a problem because the broken ribs and all that stuff could have affected his accuracy. Same with his hand. And also you have to look at the offensive line and the amount of time they gave Tua Tagovailoa to throw the ball. So I find all of this very interesting. But the biggest thing that I took away from this chart, from these numbers, because there's some good and like I said, there's some bad. He needs to get better. If the Dolphins want to be successful, if the Dolphins want to take that next step and be consistently fighting with the Bills or the Patriots to have the division title and consistently be in the playoffs, not only does the offensive line need to do better, but Tua has to do better. It is a team sport. The offensive line can give you all the time in the world, but you need to make the throws. Because I even showed you stats when he wasn't pressured, they weren't as great as they should be. So this is the year, like I said, time and time again, that Tua needs to take that step. If they give him the offensive line, they give him the weapons he needs to, this is it. There's no, oh, well, it's a new system. No, because they already said they are going to predicate the system for him, and they are going to talk about things that he does well, and if he doesn't do well, they'll work on it. So there is no excuse of, oh, it's a new system, because it's made for him. So, again, there's some really good out of these stats, and there's some really bad, and he needs to work on the really bad. So does the offensive line. It's not all on Tua. These stats, they're just hard numbers, but you got to look at variables. You got to look at everything. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have a ton planned. I keep saying this. I have a ton planned. But you already know. Next week is going to really start kicking off. We're going to start talking about free agency soon. So, other than that, like usual, stay classy and fins out.